Hi everyone. I wanted to share something and I hope y'all understand it. I hope I can get it in quick enough. We just did a Zoom class with our ladies from church. Some of them got on there and I was able to present a lesson, and it's a lesson that's been on my heart for a while, and I wanted to share it with you all too. If you're able to listen and you can, then I appreciate it. It's not about me, it's about what God put on my heart, and I hope I can share it with you in a good way. I'm gonna obviously kind of shorten it down because we don't have as long on a video that I can upload to Facebook. It won't let me get a long one, but I hope that I can present it to you quick enough and well enough. Basically, we were talking about self care and taking care of ourselves, especially as mothers. And this was for some of the ladies that, since we couldn't do our mother's brunch like we wanted to this year, we did the Zoom thing instead. And we should have had some like pastries and stuff to go with it, but we didn't. But anyways, this was supposed to be for the mother's brunch, but we obviously had to cancel it due to everything going on. But basically, we as mothers, I feel like so often don't cut ourselves any slack, and we're always beating ourselves down. And I think that taking care of ourselves is so important, and it's so vital to our ability to be able to take care of our kids, our family. And we think of being a responsibility of a mother is put everybody above ourselves, put our kids above ourselves, our husband above ourselves, our families, our friends, even those at church, our acquaintances, the people we don't hardly even know. We put everybody above ourselves, and we don't take care of us. And so often I feel like we forget that God wants us to take care of us. He wants us to take care of us to be able to be the best we can be for Him. Because if we're not caring for ourselves, then we're not going to be able to be the best we can, whether it be just being the best we can as a child of God, being the best we can as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, as a daughter. All of these things, they pull down on us, and we put ourselves under so much judgment from ourselves, and we get so much judgment from other people too. So we struggle a lot, and I feel like, at least I do. I can sit there and I can look in a mirror and I can look at myself on this video and I can say, hey, you know what? I don't quite like the way I look. I don't like the way I act sometimes. I don't like my accent, especially when I listen to videos over again. I think my accent gets so much stronger on those videos, or at least it seems like it. Maybe it is that strong in real life. But anyways, I don't like seeing myself on camera very often, and I don't like standing in front of people or being in front of people. It makes me nervous. I'm gonna sit. But basically, we put all that judgment on ourselves, and we don't take care of ourselves. So how do you take care of yourself? You have to read the Bible, have your devotion time. It's important. It's vital to you and to me to have that time to where you can get with God. And sometimes, as a mom especially, you can think, hey, you know what? I'm not going to have time to sit down and do 10 minutes reading uninterrupted because I got kids running around. I got 3 of them. They run around, and they will very much interrupt anything you're doing. But God knows that. So if you have a minute to sit down and pray, if you have 2 minutes, if you have 5 or 10, whatever you have, give God you, and He will take care of you from there. We also have what I call just me time. Not that I get it very often or even make time for it myself very often, but I should. Because having me time, having time, whether it is just a minute or time that you can go and sit, and you know what? Just say, I need to breathe, God. I'm having a bad day. I'm in a bad mood. I'm cranky. I don't need to be cranky. I'm getting angry easy. And you think, you know what? I just need some time to relax. So then we have that. And God can give us that. He can help us, and He can make so much out of just a minute. If you give Him just a minute to say, hey, you know what, God, I need you to refocus me because my mind is not stayed on you. 1 Corinthians 3:17 says, if any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy, which temple ye are. How can we know it's defiling the temple of God? We have so many things that we think of as defiling the temple of God. We think of all these self-harm things you can do to harm yourself, not taking care of yourself, not maybe eating right or exercising or doing things to take care of your health. All of these things we can think about, but you know what? Not taking care of yourself also means the inside. And I had 2 apples, and I'm going to try this because they've already been cut, so I'm not going to show you the other side. But I have 2 apples. This one got beat up a lot. It got beat up by me telling it, you know what? I don't like the way you cook. I don't like the way you look. I don't like the way you act. You need to do more. You need to take more time to play with the kids. You need to take more time to do all of these things, and I can beat it up. And this one's fine. Both of them look fine from the outside, but only one was defiled on the inside. So to be defiled, to have our temple defiled, sometimes means we just didn't take care of the insides. We didn't take care of our mind, our soul, and our heart. And we have to take care of those things. We have to be able to take care of those things and to be able to trust God. You know what? I may not be the best looking woman in a room, probably very often, but that's okay. I may not be the best mom. I may not be able to handle conflict the best. I actually really don't do well with conflict. I get nervous. I don't like conflict, and I try to avoid it. But conflict sometimes can be what defiles me on the inside, because I'm beating myself up saying, you know what, you need to say this, you need to do that, you need to handle it this way and not that way. And I can think about it, and I can beat myself up about how I'm going to handle it or how I did handle it. So we can really defile ourselves in so many ways just by beating ourselves up. All those things may not actually be wrong. So if we sit there and we think, you know what, I need to play with the kids more. I need to take time and slow down and really focus on them. And you know what? That may not be wrong. But there's a difference between having a goal of saying, you know what? I need to have a goal to spend more time with my kids, to slow down, to focus on them. That's a goal. Yes, that's good. And God can help you to reach that. But to beat myself up and say, you know what? I'm not good enough because I didn't spend enough time with the kids playing today. That's where we struggle. And that's where we hurt ourselves on the inside. So we talk about the temple of God. And yeah, we mess ourselves up on the inner man just as much as we do on the outer man most times. It says, I'm going to read Proverbs 8:32-35. It says, now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways, hear instruction, and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All they that hate me love death. Now we may not always know what is needed to take care of ourselves, whether it be our inner bodies or our outside. We may not know what we need to take care of our family, but God does, and he's telling us, hearken unto me. Hear instruction and be wise. He gives us instruction. He's going to give us everything we need. And he's going to help us to do all of those things. We may not know what the next step is, and a lot of times in a trial, we're not going to know what the next step is. But God does, and he knows what we need. Now, what happens when we don't take care of ourselves? When we don't do that self-care moment, that self-care of me time or devotion time or whatever it is that you need. What happens when we don't do that? I have 2 plants here, and I've already kind of explained some of this, so I don't have the whole demonstration here ready because I did it in the lesson in the class. But I have 2 plants. One is very dead, very wilted. This one's alive, still has a flower, surprisingly enough, because I don't grow things very well. But I have the 2 plants, and you can see the one is dead and the one is not. A plant needs water and sun and food, or the soil, that it gets its nutrients from. It gets all of those things through the stem and through the roots. And we get those things, and we have those things, and we only get them if we accept them, right? Because if we have nutrients, we have soil coming to us, we have to do something with it. We have to accept it. Both plants were watered, placed in the sun, and given the soil, and you know what? Both even endured a storm. Can you guess which one? Both of them. You can't look at these and say, hey, you know what? That one, not this one. Sorry, I had something come up. This one didn't go through a storm. It did. It just did something with what the storm gave it. Water is essential for these things to live. Water is so necessary. But this one did something with the water. This one didn't. You know why? It's because I had it wrapped in this. It's a little piece of press and seal, and I had it wrapped around the roots, and it prevented it from taking anything in. But I did that to share an example with you, to show you that, you know what? We have something standing in between us and what God's giving us. He gives us the essentials we need. He gives us everything we need. But this was blocking it. So often we have something blocking us, whether it be sin or whether it be us beating ourselves down like we beat up those apples. You know what? Sometimes that's going to be what blocks us from getting what God's given us, because He does. He gives us everything. And we look at the roots covered on this one. We did have them covered. And it was just something so simple, something so little, that prevented it from getting what it needed to survive. To succeed as children of God, we have to rely on Him, but we have to do so continually. That one, the one that died, it had everything it needed when it came from the store until I wrapped it up. And you know what? Sometimes other people are going to wrap us up and they're going to block us from getting things that we need to get from God, because they're going to prevent us from having the right frame of mind to accept it. But we have to deal with that. We have to realize that something's blocking us and we have to get it out of the way. James 1:2-4 says, "My brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing." Life is not without battles. Life is, in fact, very full of them. I'm not going to go through this, but I did have some examples of some people that I know have struggled, and some of my own personal ones, but because of the platform, I'm not going to share all of them there for the privacy of those. But we all have things that, you know what, we can say, you know what? You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've had to endure. You don't know what I'm facing right now. And we may not. You may not understand what I'm going through, and that's okay. The problem is that we're all going to have a storm, and we all have to make a choice of what to do with it. We all have to make a choice whether to accept what's going to come out of that storm. I've been through storms in my life, and I can tell you that those storms define me now. They are a lot of who I am as a person. I've faced things in my life that I don't know that I would be the same person at all if I didn't go through them. I still wouldn't want to do them again, but I understand the purpose of why God allowed me to go through those storms. And we're all going to have storms. And why we go through them, that's up to God. Sometimes it's up to us, because sometimes we put ourselves in a storm. But what we go through does define us. But it can define us in a good way, or it can define us in a bad way. And if we're in this bad way and we know, hey, you know what, I'm not getting what I need, somebody needs to show me what I'm missing, ask God, because He'll show you and He'll help you through that. Verse number 22 of James chapter 1 says, "But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves." So like the plant, it was given every nutrient it needed. It was given everything that it needed, but it didn't do anything with it. We so often are given everything we need through the Bible, through prayer, through teaching, through preaching, through songs, through strangers in the street. We're given everything we need, but we don't do anything with it because something is blocking us. So I want to encourage you, and I encourage myself even in this lesson, because it works on me too, that we have to fight to make sure that whatever is blocking us, if anything is blocking us, whenever we go through things, whether it's a trial or a mountaintop, we have to make sure nothing's blocking us from being able to receive what God's trying to teach us and show us through it. Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verses 22-23 says, "For what hath man of all his labor, and of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity." Vanity, by the 1828 Webster's Dictionary, says to mean emptiness, want of substance to satisfy desire, and uncertainty. How often, as people in general, but as moms and as women who beat themselves up very often, how often are we feeling empty or uncertain? How often is that feeling of vanity in our lives? We have a desire of what we want to be for a mother. We have an image of what we pictured ourselves as a mother, and so often we don't meet that desire, or we don't meet that picture perfect image we wanted, and we beat ourselves up for it. But we have to trust in God, because it says in Psalms 51:10, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me." And this, I'm going to close with this, but oftentimes I have to find myself praying, God, clean my heart, clean my spirit, my soul, everything. Lord, help me to come to you openly, because we do have to pray, God, bring me to you openly. and just work to get into the throne room of God. He is always going to listen. He's always going to be there. So I pray for y'all, and I pray that I can be in a frame of mind that I don't have something blocking me, that I don't have something keeping me from getting what God is trying to give me. Because so often when I pray and I feel, you know what, I need to pray about something or someone or a situation or even something in my own life that is just weighing so heavy on me, but you know what, I'm letting the worry and the emptiness and the concern and uncertainty of whatever that situation is, I'm letting the vanity control my mind, and I'm so focused on that that I'm not letting go of whatever it is, of all of that stuff, and letting God in. So whatever's blocking you, whether you're a mom or a dad or a teenager or child, whatever is blocking you, we can all have things blocking us from God. And I pray that this lesson can be a blessing to you and encourage you to just drop whatever it is and to focus on God. Much love and God bless.